Whew. So, what do we do now, Mr. York?
Zach and I will take things from here.
Then what should I do?
Tend to your sick wife? I don't know. You're free to do as you please. I'll stop by the sheriff's office when I need your help again.
I suppose that's what I'll do then. But I am the sheriff of this town, so I do intend to get some work done. I know. How about I search for Lisa's body while you're busy?
Not a bad idea. Just be careful that you don't get attacked by a barefooted giant.
Hey, don't scare me like that. Why do you keep talking about that giant anyway? You really think some giant was responsible for all this?
Melvin, don't be silly. Of course I do. Just when I thought you were starting to catch on. Disappointing, to say the least.
But how can you be so sure? I want to see some proof.
Proof number 1. The footprints that led up to where Lisa's body originally was were made with bare feet. None of the prints looked similar to those of common insulated boots, and the arches of the feet were visible. The person who carried out Lisa's body must have had very large feet. I'd say they were at least 16 inches. Proof number 2. I found fingerprints on the cord of one of the hanging lights in the warehouse. The fingerprints weren't aimed up from below. They were coming directly from the side. Clearly, the giant moved the light because it was in his way. He pinched the cord with his fingers. Proof number 3. There was nothing else found in the vicinity where Lisa's body was stored. This means the giant carried her out without dragging her across the floor. But there's only one set of footprints. The only conclusion I can draw from this evidence is that a barefooted giant standing over 10 feet tall carried Lisa's body out. That concludes the entirety of my proof. Any objections, Melvin?
But there ain't no way a human could ever be that tall.
Have you seen every human alive with your own eyes? Well then, you need to forget all your preconceived notions when embarking on an investigation. Whether you come face to face with a 10-foot giant or a skeletal gentleman, you always need to accept everything that comes to you with a clear mind. Do that, and eventually the truth will reveal itself to you. You're a smart kid, I'm sure you understand.
Well, I'll be damned! I'm sorry I ever doubted you, Mr. FBI Special Agent, sir. A sharp eye and flawless observational skills. Uncovering the truth with a heady in... I won't ever question you again. Heck, I'll do whatever you say.
That's it, Melvin. I'm glad you finally caught on. Okay, time to go, Patty. You know this town well, so I'd like you to accompany me from now on.
Patty?
Zach, we found the flying serpent. Now we simply need to locate the 10 maidens. It's time to head on to Alexis's Diner and Lane. The streets in New Orleans were a mess, all busted up and undergoing maintenance. The city was built on a swamp, so the ground is soft. All it takes is some heavy rain to cave it all in. There were also a lot of places where large tree roots were pushing up parts of the asphalt and the sidewalk. Those bumps were dangerous even when we still had our car, remember? But this town is different. The streets are all paved so cleanly that we can skate along them without a care in the world, and there's hardly any trash or graffiti to be found. Zach, you're a coffee person, right? No sugar, only milk. Yes, I'm completely with you on that one. This town sure is peaceful, Zach. Yes, I know what you're about to say. But that's why we're here. To protect this peace. Isn't that right, Zach? So, what do you think of him? Yes, I'm talking about him. Boonga, is the skeletal gentleman friend or foe? Or does he merely exist outside the realms of ether? Still too early to tell. But it's clear that he'll be the key to uncovering this case's mysteries. That's what my soul tells me. By the way, Zach, Boongan feels very familiar to me. You might even say he reminds me of someone. Yes, I think I see the connection now.
What do you want, Peckerwood?
The streets in New Orleans were a mess, all busted up and undergoing maintenance. The city was built on a swamp, so the ground is soft. All it takes is some heavy rain to cave it all in. There were also a lot of places where large tree roots were pushing up parts of the asphalt and the sidewalk. Those bumps were dangerous even when we still had our car. But this town is different. The streets are all paved so cleanly that we can skate along them without a care in the world. And there's hardly any trash or graffiti. Looks like a case of bad timing, Zach. Let's come back later. So, what do you think of him? Yes, I'm talking about him. Boondock, is the skeletal gentleman friend or foe? Or does he merely exist outside the realms of evil? Still too early to tell. But it's clear that he'll be the key to uncovering this case's mysteries. That's what my soul tells me. This town sure is peaceful, Zach. Yes, I know. I know what you're about to say. But that's why we're here. This is the Deep South. I feel it every time that molten hot sun pours down on me. Don't you, Zach? Hey, Zach, it looks like we were right on the money. Tracing the San Rouge distribution route led us right to Louisiana. You know what that means. We've got a hot hand, and Lady Luck's given us far more favor than she ever has before. We just happened to hear news about Lisa's murder while sitting at a bar during our vacation in New Orleans. That certainly wouldn't have happened if we had stayed in D.C. They would have given the case to another special agent, or maybe even to the state, and then we never would have found it. In the end, we would have been shut up in that vast, desolate evidence vault along with all the other cases, marked by nothing but a first-degree murder tag, buried in a soggy grave at the bottom of a sea of data. That would have been its fate. Instead, traveled from person to person until it finally fell right into our lap. Things always work out that way for us. We've traveled all over the United States trying to track down San Rouge. We can't let this chance pass us by, can we, Zach? We need to find some sort of clue before this southern sun melts it all away. So you clearly love TV shows, but what about movies?
Movies? We don't even have a movie theater around here.
Looks like a case of let's come back later. This town sure is peaceful, Zach. Yes, I know. I know what you're about to say. But that's why we're here. To protect this peace. Isn't that right, Zach? This is the Deep South. I feel it every time that molten hot sun pours down on me. Don't you, Zach? Hey, Zach. No, nothing. Just felt like saying that. Hey, Zach.
Very good, sir. Please, come right this way. Serving you is my... Please do let me know if there is any other way for me to assist you.
Did you notice it yet? The streets in New Orleans were a mess. All busted up and undergoing maintenance. The city was built on a swamp, so the ground is soft. All it takes is some heavy rain to cave it all in. There were also a lot of places where large tree roots were pushing up parts of the asphalt and the sidewalk. Those bumps were dangerous even when we still had our car, remember? But this town is different. The streets are all paved so cleanly that we can skate along them without a care in the world. And there's hardly any trash or graffiti to be found anywhere. The Clarksons truly do control this place. For better or worse, it's a good example of how allowing certain people to rise to power. One lollipop? Two lollipops? Three lollipops? Don't mind me, Zach. This is how I wake myself up. Yes. Perfect.
Oh, my dear lost lamb, what are you doing there?
Oh, this? This is all part of the Lise Clarkson murder investigation.
Something important, hmm?
Oh, yes. Very important. I'm FBI Special Agent Francis York Morgan. Please call me York. That's what everyone calls me. But what should I call you?
I'm Tyrone Sanders, pastor of the Lucare Evangelical Church.
And what business does a pastor like yourself have in a place like this?
Well, I live over across the way there.
Do you have an intimate relationship with Mrs. Carpenter?
What? Why in the world would you suggest such a pitiful thing? Lordy, lordy. How could I ever become intimate with one who is so devoid of faith? After she lost her husband, she stopped coming to church. All she does all day is bowl. She even pruned the shrubbery in that pitiful fashion. Yes, truly pitiful. And did you see that hideous ox of a dog she owns? Pitiful with a capital P. I tried speaking with her, but she shows no intention of changing her ways. Yes, I fear she never lends an ear when the good Lord reaches out to her. Indeed, I pity her from the bottom of my heart.
So you've been spying on her out of pity?
Spying? I'm merely awaiting the chance to lend her a helping hand. You'd best be careful, too. This town harbors much more danger than you're aware of. If you ever find yourself in need of salvation, feel free to stop by our church whenever you like. Our church also functions as a clinic. Someday, you may need our help.
Zach, did you hear that? Pitiful. Try saying that to someone in the city. They'd instantly slap you with slander or defamation charges. You'd be up to your neck in court papers. I doubt I'll tire of this town anytime soon. We should consider stopping by that church whenever we get a chance.
How pitiful. Are you lost, little lamb?
Zach, you're a coffee person, right? No sugar, only milk. Yes, I'm completely with you on that one. Zach, you're a coffee person, right? No sugar, only milk. Yes, I'm completely with you on that one. Hey, Zach, it looks like we were right on the money. Tracing the San Rouge distribution route led us right to Louisiana. You know what that means. We've got a hot hand, and Lady Luck's given us far more favor than she ever has before. Looks like a case. Let's come back later.